Here we go. So, Cait, I mean, I know who you are. Welcome to the Body Love Binge. If people don't know who are you?
Oh my gosh, that is such a big question. You went in huge. Um, who am I? Gosh, I would say I'm nobody at all, but I'm also me. It's a really interesting question. I am pure love, really. That's what I
Mm.
am. Yeah, pure love and just gratitude. And I yeah, I don't really have a title. I wouldn't say I have a title of being anything, to be honest. There's a lot of things that I do, and there's a lot of things that I facilitate, but I wouldn't say that I am them. Um,
Oh, already getting deep. I love this. So, what do you do and why do you do it?
okay. Essentially, I guess I help people to realize that they don't have to live the normal way through self-love and through body acceptance and essentially body love. And I do this through, I guess, just sharing my vulnerabilities and my story and basically living through it first and talking about it afterwards. So anything that I talk about is things that I've experienced and either good or bad. Um, I just basically test everything out for people first, and then I can help. So yeah, I love to help people to recognize that there's a different way of living and that there's, it doesn't have to be the norm. And um, now I'm also doing business coaching alongside my life coaching, alongside my self-love stuff, and just yeah, really being the person that I needed about 10 years ago.
Mm, I love that. That's how I speak to my audience. I just speak to the past version of me who was in
Mm.
who was in that moment and time in struggling with the eating disorder. And I don't know, you probably don't know this, but you've been such a huge catalyst in my recovery, actually. I think I found you when you first
Oh,
started,
wow.
which was when did you start? 2020 or 2019 or
Yeah,
when?
2020. Yeah.
20, yeah. And
Mm,
one of my coaches said to me, right, you need to go on Instagram and look at people with a similar body shape to you who look like they're
mm,
just living their life and doing their thing and
mm.
look at them every day. And then you were, and you still are one of my favorites because you can favorite people on Instagram. And I share a
Oh,
lot of you in my group coaching. And actually, only 2 days ago, someone was like, "Oh, Kate's done this awesome reel. I'm sharing it in the resources section because it's so helpful." And I was like, "I'm going to interview her next week." And they're so excited.
oh, wow. Oh my gosh. I feel a little bit starstruck, um, for myself. That's crazy. Thank you.
Well, you've been such a
Wow.
huge help because we've been brainwashed and conditioned, haven't we, through society and our upbringing and movies and all the rest of it. It slowly is changing to see thin as the ultimate like social capital. You'll shit rainbows, everyone will love you.
Yeah,
Yeah. And that's not the
which is
case.
absolutely not. No, we're so much more than our bodies. And I think that this is why I talk about helping people to realize that there's a different way of living, because when you step outside of essentially not having your full capacity on your bloody body or your
Mm,
um self-image or your what you look like or all that stuff that takes up our entire capacity, you actually open up this whole different realm
mm,
and this whole other level of like, oh, like I'm capable of so much more than just my body, And
yeah.
I mean, that's what happened with me. It was just like realizing that my body is like, sure, it's a part of me, but it's a part of me, It's not everything. And it's not, especially, it's not the most interesting or important thing about me. It's just something that helps me to get through my day to day. It's the physical representations.
Yeah. What
Mm,
was the catalyst for you to go from the eating disorder?
mm,
Because I know a bit of your background from just you sharing. So you had an eating
mm,
disorder
mm.
and you were in a thinner body and obsessed with the gym, similar to what I was
Yeah.
in. What made you just be like, fuck this? If you did say fuck this, I don't know. That's what I did.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, you know what? It wasn't a fuck this. It was more like a, oh my gosh, I have been so fixated on what I look like that I
Mm,
haven't even been present in my actual life. Um, and essentially I was like not paying attention to this beautiful partner that I had or any of the amazing opportunities that I had and not being grateful for anything really because I was like, I need to be skinny so that I am accepted and that I'm beautiful. And I just realized like how uh far away from myself I was. I was just like not in my body. I was like living something somewhere else, almost like a
mm,
different life, if that makes sense. Like I was living in a job that I didn't like. I was with a partner who was lovely, but really I didn't even appreciate him at the time. It was more just he was just there, you know. He was there supporting me, loving me, and I was like, no, I'm terrible. I'm all these things, and it was just I was awful to him through that, you know.
mm,
Um, so it wasn't a fuck you, it was more just like a wake up call. And I think that was actually through the pandemic and having to stop doing everything that I was doing. Like when we actually allow space for ourselves. I think the pandemic was awful for a lot of people, and I totally respect that. And my granny passed away, and we couldn't get to her. All I understand that part, but
mm,
it was also the biggest gift I've ever been granted by whatever
mm.
did that, where I was actually in my own space for 23 months. Um, and all of these patterns, I speak about paradigms a lot. I follow Bob Proctor. Do you know Bob Proctor?
Oh, like Grandad Bob, who's in
Yeah.
the other room now.
Mm, mm, him. Um, he's one of my favorite teachers ever. And he
Mm,
talks about paradigms and essentially what happened in that pandemic is I was taken out of my comfort zone, my paradigm, i.e. the gym, being skinny, all that kind of stuff. And I was at home and I had to like everything changed. I couldn't even go back to the paradigm. I couldn't even go back to the old programming because I physically couldn't get to the gym. So
yeah.
something had to change. And I did one session of yoga, and that session I cried and cried and cried, and I was like, what is this? What is happening here? And I think that was the day that I came back to my body from being so disassociated from
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was more just a wake up for me rather than a fuck you.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
did you do next? Because I assume you were restricting, maybe purging. Like, what was, just share briefly, like, what type of eating disorder you were in, because that's primarily my
Uh,
area of expertise. And then what did you do to start your healing journey?
To be honest, so it was orthorexia, which is overexercising and undereating. So I was really, really, really like undernourished. I was on a detox diet for 5 years, which is really, really bad for you. I didn't eat. Oh yeah, we're not going to get into it, but it was very, very bad for me. So even going to the gym was just not. I wasn't building muscle. I wasn't. Nothing was happening. I wasn't losing weight. I wasn't putting on weight. Do you know what I mean? It was just like awful. I just hated myself. But I forgot the question. Can you please remind me?
Yeah,
What was the eating
what did you
disorder?
then do? So you had this
Ah,
realization of, oh my God, I'm not here. And then obviously you started to heal. What was the first thing you started to do on your healing journey? Because I know it's not linear at all.
no. And honestly, my journey, although I started recognizing that my body, because I also did the Instagram thing where I added people who had a similar body type to me. And that's what I always
Mm.
speak about. Find people who look a little bit like you, who are loving themselves, living their lives, and also diversify that. So you've got people that are bigger and that you've got people that are smaller,
Yeah.
because it's important to see and different color and all of that. Um, but yeah, basically I started meditating and doing yoga, and that honestly changed everything because I was then present in my body. I wasn't disassociated from myself, so I could
Yeah.
really feel what this felt like. Like I could actually feel my body. Like I knew what like this is my leg because I never looked at my leg before. Like I hated it. I never
Yeah.
looked at my belly before, and I hated it. You know, so it was really just becoming present with myself.
Hmm. I love that. And then I assume that yoga was somatic work for you. So all the releasing that you're doing emotionally was because you were dropping from your head into your body and actually probably releasing years of stored trauma that were stored in your cells because you were being present and holding space for them.
Yeah, it actually, yeah, although somatic, it was very nourishing because all of the things I was doing before was CrossFit. So that was also very somatic, but also that was very traumatic and very stressful on my body.
Yeah.
I didn't have my period for 5 years, and I kept going and going and pushing and pushing. I can push and push and go and go, but I never stopped. So I basically stopped everything. I
Mm.
stopped restricting and I ate whatever I wanted, which was really hard. I stopped exercising so much and I just literally chilled, did like 20 minutes of yoga a day. Um, it was the stopping for me. That's what did it.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
surrender.
pretty much. Yeah, exactly. The
Yeah. Because
opposite, the opposite of what you are doing is what you need,
mm,
if that makes sense. Like if you write with your left hand, you need to try and write with your right hand,
yeah.
and that's the duality, you know? It's like
Yeah.
completely change what you're doing. So if you're doing lots of gym and exercise and push, 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 you just need to stop.
Yeah.
And
It
that's what will
sounds like
change
you've
the
had
paradigm.
almost like an enlightenment moment because so many people come to me and that's what I coach them through, stopping what they're doing and then healing and doing all the multi-layered
Mm,
healing work. Of course, that's
mm,
necessary as well. But a lot of people find it so challenging to just do the
mm.
opposite of what they've been doing.
Yeah,
So can you give any advice with someone who perhaps hasn't had that enlightened moment or that awareness of like, what am I doing? I'm going to change this. Because it's just stopping it and doing something different. But it's like, is anything underneath the just stopping it? Do you see what I'm saying? That you can give advice to someone?
yeah. Um, you literally will not have a quick fix if you want it to be sustainable. And
Mm,
I'm just going to be blunt about it. There is the exercise, again, Bob Proctor, that he does with the left hand, the right hand. So anyone that's listening now, if they get a pen and they put the pen in their strong hand and
mm,
just draw a line down the page, and at the top of the page on the side that you are strong with, so if it's your right side, write your name down. So Cait, I'd write down. And then you're going to change over the pen to your other hand and you're going to write Cait on the opposite side.
mm,
And that's going to be really hard. Okay. And it's uncomfortable and it looks really like squiggly, like almost like a child's written it. And then try it again, and then try it again, and then try it for 30 days, and then try it for 90 days. And after 90 days, you're going to have some improvements. That hand is going to have that memory. And I think so often we think that it's going to be such a quick fix, like, oh, I'll go with a coach and it'll be like a really quick fix and we'll do it in like 3 weeks. And it's actually just recognizing what you want to achieve and really just sticking to it. That's what I have done, and that is what works for me. And that is what works, unfortunately. And I'm sorry that it's a harsh truth, but it's literally, what is your why? Why are you here? What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? Or what do you want to resolve or overcome? And just
mm.
actually giving it your best crack. That's all. That's the only
Yes.
piece of advice I could give on that.
And be willing to be uncomfortable because, like you've described, it is going to be uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's going to be uncomfortable. And also there's going to be so many times that you're going to want to quit and that you're going to want to, because you're not
Mm,
seeing the quick results. We're just used to this life of like Amazon. I order Amazon in the UK. I think you guys, sorry, you're not there, but in the UK, you can literally order same day delivery. What the hell is that? You know? Yeah. And I think our whole lives have been geared up to this like instant gratification. And we've forgotten that time
mm,
does exist. So if it's taken 5 years for you to have all of these habits which are potentially not good for you, I'm just using 5 years as an example,
mm.
it's going to take time for those habits to become unlearned and then
Yeah.
relearn some good habits. So
Yes.
it's a time thing. And like, if you can stick with it, that's the best gift that you can give yourself.
Yeah. Repetition, consistency, be willing to be uncomfortable, and doing the deeper work, because I find it easier to change the behavioral stuff when I'm
Mm,
getting to of why the fuck do I want to be thin for my entire life? Like, what's going on there? So
yeah.
you mentioned something quite blasé, but I think it's worth speaking to when you were saying I needed to be thin in order to be loved and accepted, and then you moved on. But that's the thing, isn't it? Like, so many, not everyone I work with, a lot of it's to do with safety and control as well, depending on their upbringing. But was being thin for you linked to you feeling worthy, accepted, and loved?
Um, that was a story. That was a belief that I had. So yes, it
Yeah.
was linked to it. And unfortunately, I do think that that is a story and a belief that a lot of us are taught. But I guess the thing is asking yourself, like, is this actually my belief? Is this actually my story? Is this actually my truth? You know, do I look at my friends and only accept them because they're skinny? And if
Mm.
you do, then sure, maybe that is your truth. But I'm gonna probably say that you don't. You don't accept people because of the way that they look. And if, you know, you do you because you live your life however you want to live it. But I certainly don't. I don't look at a person who I've just met and think, you're not going to be my friend because you look like this. So
Mm.
that then isn't my truth, right? That's just a belief that I have in my head of something that's been told to me. You know, my partner is 10 years younger than me, and that getting into a relationship with him was so difficult for me because I was like, oh, he's 21, I can't do this. And then I was like, hold on a second. If any of my friends told me this, would I be like, oh, that's terrible, you shouldn't do that? And I was like, no. And I was like, ah, that's not my truth then. So that's a
Mm.
story and a belief that is no longer mine. So I basically rejected that.
And created a new one. So that leads me on to the juice of what I want to ask you about, which so many people are going to be asking me to ask you about. How did you navigate the weight gain when it came, and what did that
Mm,
mean to you? Because I'm sure it wasn't
mm,
just, "Okay, cool, I've gained weight, no worries, I love myself now."
yeah. Um, so that is the hardest. Sorry, I hope you can't hear that loud thing banging behind me.
I can hear
Um,
it, but it's not loud. It's just part of your
okay.
barley fat. Before you answer this, just show them.
Yeah.
I pressed, I didn't press record. Before I pressed record, I said, I saw Kate sipping, and I was like, are you totally like sipping from a coconut right now? And she is. So do you just want to show us like what
Yeah.
I'm doing right
Yeah.
now?
So this is my little coconut and my view of the beach. Yeah, yeah. I just figured I'd rather sit here than inside in my
Well,
bikini with my belly
loving
out.
life, accepting who you are. Love it.
Yeah, yeah. But that question I've completely forgotten, so you're gonna have to repeat it for me.
Of course, I was distracting you with Thailand and beach coconuts, distracting us because I'm sat in my office. You know, the sun's not out, but it's okay. How
Okay.
did you navigate the weight gain when it came? Because
Mm,
of
that's it.
change your beliefs, it does take a bit of time, and your nervous system freaks the fuck out before it gets on board with what your brain's doing habitually.
Yeah. Now that is a really good question because, and I actually spoke about this in my story today, where we think, and something that was so fascinating to me is I put a poll up. And the question was basically like, do you think that you have to fix your body before you can love it? Yes, no, or I'm working on it. And a
Mm,
lot of people, majority, have said yes. I have to fix my body before I can love it. And what I've discovered is that is just absolutely not the truth at
yeah.
all. Because if I sat here waiting to fix my body before I loved it, I wouldn't be in this beautiful place in Thailand in a bikini. I'd be sitting here, with my scarf over my stomach and really just trying to hide myself and not being able to walk on the beach, which means then you're not present in your life and you're missing out on all this stuff, right? So it's almost like you have to, it's that surrender, isn't it? It's that surrender to not doing, not, yeah, just the surrender to whatever's there. So, um, I did struggle because I used to get a lot of attention, right?
Mm,
From being the weight that I was before. And um, what was so nice about putting on weight actually is that it made me realize that I was searching for external validation. through everything in my life, really. So I was, getting attention from men and from women, yeah, how are you so skinny, and how do you keep that body, and wanting all these tips and tricks and all this stuff. And like that was all this external. So it went into like a really deep level. It wasn't that I just put weight on. I put weight on and then I stopped getting external validation because, in a bigger body, and I'm just gonna be blunt again, the attention is not really there so much.
Mm.
It's really difficult. And if you are in a bigger body right now, like the inner work that you're going through and the journey that you're going through is a huge journey of respecting yourself and not seeking that external validation. Um, so yeah, it was very difficult to accept it and to do that. But essentially, I had to just surrender. I had to just be like, okay, well, this is where we're at. Like, I had to look at the reality of where I am right now and be like, okay, well, that's just what we're dealing with, and
Mm.
I cannot fight it anymore. I don't want to fight it. I'm too tired of fighting it. It's exhausting. It's making me not present. And, now I'm not present from being in this size. Yeah. Then you just have your capacity taken up by that.
Yeah,
Is that making
that's a very
sense?
true experience to me, actually. It was step one for me was giving up fighting reality and
Mm,
being like in the mirror and practicing being okay with looking, even though I didn't like it, just being okay with looking. And then I would do some body love practices, which felt fake, but I would do them anyway. And then
mm.
I would act as if I was confident when I wasn't. But then before you know it, if you keep doing the inner work and being present and reading Bob Proctor. Also, tangent, have you heard of Neil Donald Walsh?
No, I haven't.
You're going to love him. He's
Neil.
got an epic
Okay.
book that's
Yeah.
called, title's a bit weird. I'm not religious in any way, but it's called Conversations with God by
Oh,
Neil
I actually
Donald.
know that book. I know the book. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I believe in God, but God is, to me, the universe. It's so much more than what, again, society has made us feel like God is. It's not, God is not a bad thing. God is faith. God is you. You are God. Everything is God.
Yeah. With
Um,
you, with you on that,
yeah,
100%.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
But something that I did that you just mentioned, was I started taking photos of myself, and I
oh,
didn't really, I shared mine, but something, especially if people don't feel, if anyone listening doesn't feel comfortable ever sharing the photos, take photos of yourself at many different angles, this angle, from the side, see the belly, like, and when you start taking, instead of, because sometimes looking in the mirror is a little bit confronting, taking a photo and having it on your phone and maybe not doing it straight then and there, but maybe a little bit later or something like that, or looking at it and then putting it down and coming back to it. I
mhm.
just found that was a lot better for me, taking those photos.
That's a really good idea, actually. So you were purposely doing photo work from all different angles because I
Hmm.
did that in the mirror. So we used to do, I say we used to because I'm sure we don't do this anymore. When we were in the eating disorder, we would go to a mirror and we would stand a
Mm.
certain way and have a certain angle and look at ourselves a
Yeah.
certain way. But then if you were, let's say, walking past a shop window and you looked at your
Mm.
reflection and you were like, what the fuck do I look like that? Then it would like ruin your entire day. I
Yeah.
purposely would then like get undressed and dress in front of the mirror, but purposely not pose. So I would see myself,
Mm.
like
Mm.
say you do and did with photos, from different angles where I wasn't quote unquote ready. And I'd have a
Mm.
judgment about it, but I'd practice just being like, well, that's what I look like.
Yeah. And again, a lot easier than said than done, but you just have
Mm.
to, it's almost like you just have to do it. You just have to give it a go, give it a crack and see, like, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah. And
Nothing's going to change if nothing changes.
absolutely to that, yeah. When you were looking at these photos that you were taking when you were at the start of your journey, I'm sure you had like judgments and feelings about them. What did you do when the maybe feelings of shame or disgust, if I'm speaking about past experience, what did you do
Mm.
with that?
I actually, honestly, meditated, and I allowed those feelings to be there. And eventually, further on in my journey, I danced them out. So it was
Mm.
very, yeah, it was very, very somatic. I kind of did a lot of breath work. Breath work opens up the stomach, and essentially you can, I don't know, have you ever done breath work before?
Yeah, it actually used to trigger me a lot doing breath work. Used to make
Yeah,
me more anxious. I was trying to control the breath
yeah,
then.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So the breath work is opening up the channels where the emotions are stuck and the blockages are. That's why I'm a breathwork facilitator now, because it helped me
Mm,
on my journey so much. And it actually, again, I stopped fighting it and allowed the breath to come and go. And that's when everything was just, I let those emotions out because we just suppress things. We like anxiety, down it goes. Fear, well, fear is anxiety. Down it goes.
yeah.
That car that's just pulled out in front of me, down it goes. We don't express it. So it's like almost just expressing the emotions, like scream into your pillow,
Mm,
somatically get rid of those emotions. So for me, I remember it was a lot of movement. It was a lot of calm movement because I was doing such before I was doing, again, the opposite. I was doing such aggressive movement towards myself. So when I saw those photos, I would move really beautifully. I'd maybe like touch that part of my body and just like give it love. Or I'm just trying to think of something tangible that, would be helpful. But realistically, it was just allowing that to be there and
mm,
just working through it through breath, through yoga, through meditation.
yeah. I think that the less tangible things are, the deeper healing we experience because it's
Yeah.
like surrender. I actually have just released a podcast yesterday titled How the Fuck to Actually Surrender because
Yeah.
it's a key part of being present in life, but it's not very tangible because it's a state of being. It's just
Mm.
letting go. So it's hard to describe, isn't it? But what you're
Yeah.
saying or hearing you say is the emotions that were present, instead of suppressing them again, you made space for them, you felt them, you allowed them, and then you moved with them to naturally let them go. And then that's actually
Yeah.
healing.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is, I mean, what I do here in Thailand and what I came to is something that I would never have expected myself to do or come to, where it was a tantric school. So again,
Mhm.
tantra there's a lot of neo tantra, which is just sex. Um, but this is a tantric school, so tantra's breath work, it's yoga, it's everything. Um,
Mm,
and I danced and I cried and I screamed and I got really, really angry and I got really, really happy. And I
mm,
basically went through all of the suppressed emotions that I had been through without holding them back.
mm,
And now everything's just very chill and peaceful. I don't really get very angry. I don't really get very sad. I don't really get very happy. It's just
mm.
everything's just like a lovely, peaceful level of goodness, and sometimes not goodness, but it's a peaceful level.
Yes.
Um, yeah, so it's almost like don't hold it back. If you feel like you want to cry because you are hating on your body, cry. If you see that photo and you think, this is so awful, how have I let myself get to this? Get angry, get
Mm.
mad, hit the pillows, scream,
Yes.
let the
Yes.
emotion out, and then it goes away.
Yes. And then you have space to be present and
Yeah.
enjoy what do you have in this moment right now and the
Mm,
life you have in this moment right now. And that's when life
yeah.
happens now.
Yeah. And honestly, when you let go of everything that you thought that it was supposed to be, that's when what actually is supposed to be comes to you. Yeah.
Mm.
You know?
I want you to repeat that. That's a quote card right there.
Oh no, I don't know if I can repeat that. Like, I just speak from what's here. You're gonna have to just replay it 'cause I can't really
I can
remember.
repeat it because I received that. I'm hoping I'm repeating
Okay.
it. I think you said when you let go of how you think things should be, that's, oh my God, I can't even do it. That's
Yeah.
when things happen in the way they should be.
Yes, because there's no control over it. So for so long, especially with eating disorders and all that kind of stuff, essentially we're trying to control something. Um, and when you let go of that control, that's when what is meant to be will come. And I'm not going to get too much into this now, but it's a big trigger. so I won't get into it. But essentially, once I started to accept my body, I went on this, hmm, how do I explain this? I had a repressed childhood memory come back up through an experience. I had a repressed childhood memory come up, which made complete and utter sense to me as to why I had the eating disorder, why I had why I wanted external validation from men, um, all of these things. And it was like, oh my gosh, for 30 years, I didn't even know this existed because my subconscious had been keeping it because I wasn't ready to receive it. But because I
Mm,
let go of everything, and I was so happy at this point, because I let go of everything, my subconscious was like, okay, she's ready to find out what actually happened so that she can heal that, because that is the issue, not the body. The body is not the issue. It's that.
mm,
Um, so that is when I went onto a very, very deep healing journey of basically loving my inner child and that little me that was very, very, very hurt
mm.
for a number of years of her life. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it was a big journey. And then now that I mean, everything makes sense. Everything, all of it. The control, you know. And yes, my trauma was a very big trauma, but some traumas can be really small. Like maybe your parent didn't, everything always goes back to childhood. Maybe your parent didn't give you the attention that you wanted, so then you started compensating in a way. And what I've learned is food is my compensation because it gives
Mm,
me the happy, the food was always very praised in my family, and I turned to it. And I learned this the other day actually. I actually just recently started with a coach, which I highly recommend. I think it's one of the best things that you can do, especially if you're on a self-love journey and eating disorders. And I couldn't do it by myself. And she has been teaching me all about bringing awareness to what food I'm eating, right? And the
mm,
other day, I was super, super sad, and I was like, hormones were all over the shop, and us women have that, just happens. And hormones were all over the shop. I was super, super sad. And what happened was, is I realized I was trying to turn to food. I was trying to find biscuits. I was trying to find all these things. And when I had the awareness that that was not even from like the eating disorder, the control, whatever, what it was from is my little me being like, I need happiness. I need happiness now. Can I have happiness? And that is, yeah, essentially what happened there. So it's sometimes there's a little bit of a deeper meaning behind why we have these things. And it's almost just being really kind to yourself, because the, the eating disorders, all that kind of stuff, there is a deeper meaning. And if you're willing to go a little bit deeper, that's why I recommend breath work or just working with a coach, therapy, all that kind of stuff. You can go deeper into those wounds if you're
yeah.
ready.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Kate.
No worries.
Because you're right. I say, because I do bring humor into healing when it makes sense.
Yeah,
I'd say that there is always a reason why an eating disorder is developed. It's not developed just to piss you off. It's not even developed just so you can stay thin, because there's always a reason why you want to be thin. And yeah, to be loved and accepted by society, but there's always a deeper reason from that
yeah,
is always linked to childhood. And the
always.
amazing Gabor Mate says, two things about trauma, which I love. He says, first and foremost, trauma is two things. It's something that happened to a child that should never have happened,
Yeah.
and it's what didn't happen to a child that should have
Mm,
happened,
yeah.
emotion. And
Mm,
that's the first thing he says. The second thing he says is trauma isn't what happens to you or to
yeah.
somebody. It's what happens inside of you when something happens or doesn't happen to you.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
For
And
sure.
that's and I do a lot of inner child work with my clients, because it's all about healing the inner child within as you're changing your behaviors, as you're having the attitude of confidence and being your higher self. It's all of it combined.
Yeah, 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 for sure. And I honestly, I do a lot of teachings here in Thailand with some of my favorite teachers, and I sit in on them a lot. And one thing that he was talking about, his name is Ishi, he's our Zen master here. And the one thing that he was talking about was when you're a child and something bad happens, something traumatic, like mum doesn't give me attention or dad's angry or whatever it is, we don't have the coping mechanisms that we do as an adult.
Mm.
So we can't, you can't take drugs, you can't drink, you can't run away, um, you can't go and buy yourself biscuits. Like you have to find different ways of coping. And often that's through control of the mind. The mind says to you, don't worry, you're right. You're right. That person's wrong. You're right. And then we become so fixated on this control.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, society will link into like, society says that being skinny is good. And then your mind will basically be like, you're right, skinny is being good. And then it will look for all
Mm.
the reasons behind that. And then it will start moving you towards being skinny because that's what you believe. And you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So this eating disorder, this thing that you are within, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
And yeah, and either way, but there's another quote which I can't really remember right now, but it's positive or negative. No, what is it? It's like positive or negative. Either answer is correct because like you can find evidence for both.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah. You search for, you will find.
yeah, so being skinny, if you believe that that is the be all and end all, then that's all you're going to find. But if you
Hmm.
believe that loving yourself is more important, then you're going to find a lot of evidence behind that as well. So it's just about shifting the perspective, I think.
Definitely. I always say we attract what we believe about ourselves. And
Hmm.
so, therefore, the work is to change our beliefs, of course. But in order to change our beliefs, in my opinion, we need to first of all let go of the beliefs that aren't serving us and then create evidence. So your brain can
Mm,
be like, okay, I can believe this because now you have evidence that you're not going to die by
yeah,
doing this new thing and being this new person. And this actually links to a story
yeah.
a reel you posted the other day, which is what someone reposted in my group coaching. You were walking along the beach and people were having breakfast and you were having just a day where you were like, meh, about how you feel in your
Mm,
body. And you were talking about, I don't know if you use this exact phrase, but acting as if you were confident and then acting that way and therefore you were.
mm.
Was that a big part of your journey of like being accepting in the body you have?
Oh, for sure. Fake it till you make it, I don't like, but fake it till you believe it, I prefer.
Mm, yeah.
So yeah, because the thing is, I'm just listening and I'm thinking now, like, it's, we talk about just let go, just surrender, just do all these things. And people are like, but how do I just let go? And how do I
Mm,
surrender? And unfortunately, the answer is you just have to do it.
yeah.
Like, that is the only thing is just give it a go. So that's the same with the walking in a bikini. Just give it a go, you know?
Mm,
What's the worst that could happen? Really, what's the worst that could happen if you just got your stomach out? Someone says something, or you see it in a mirror. I don't know. What's the worst that could happen? Literally nothing, really. So you
yes.
just have to do it. I think the exposure therapy has been one of my favorite things ever. I've just
Mm,
started my own business and I have no idea like what I'm doing. I mean, I have all these learnings and experiences in my life and I can help people for sure, but I don't know how to like do businessy things.
mm,
But I just had to do it. I had to do it before I was ready because, there's no point in waiting. Oh, I'll wait until I've lost 5 pounds and then I'll wear the bikini. That's just not like your thoughts are thinking, I have to wait, I have to wait, I have to wait. And you kind of just have to do it, don't you?
yeah. I love Nike. Their slogan
Just do
is
it.
just do it.
Which is so
I
cheesy,
would
but
add a
it's the actual truth.
steroid. I would just add just fucking do it. Like,
Uh,
because from personal experience, what I've noticed is the more I'm in my head, the more I'm like, shall I do it? Shall I not do it? Yeah, but if I do it, then I'm just like, you know what? Enough. I'm just going to fucking do it. And then I'll have a
yeah.
conversation with myself afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is where somatics comes in actually, because it takes you, especially dancing, it
Mm,
takes you out of your head into your body. So you actually can't
yes.
really, you can't think of anything or like
Mm,
any kind of movement that takes you away from your head, you know, and
yeah.
into your body. So it's the presence, it's being with yourself. It's not just associating, it's being in your body, which is why breath work, why yoga, why tantra, why all these things are so important.
Yes, it's like what you described before when you started your healing journey. You started doing breath work and yoga, and it was almost like the first time since that traumatic thing happened to you. For those years, you were like in your body again. Because what
Yeah,
happens is when we're children, like you say, the Zen teacher was sharing, when we're children, when we go into a fight, flight, or freeze response, the most thing we want to do first is fight back. Can you fight back? No, you'll get hurt even more. Okay. Then the next
yeah,
thing is run away, flight. Can you run away? No. And then the only thing left to do then is freeze. And in
yeah,
order for your nervous system to protect you, you disassociate from your body because it's just
yeah,
so overwhelming. But then
yeah.
because it happens unconsciously, disassociating, it's not like a year down the line or when the trauma's over physically. It's not like you can be like, oh, okay, I'll just like come back into my body again now, because it
Mm,
happened consciously in order to protect you. We
mm-hmm,
then live until we do the work that you and I have done. We live disassociated, live
mm.
in our beds, and then wonder why we're not happy, present, have disorders, have coping mechanisms that harm us. So we need to come back into the body, but we need to feel safe to come back into the body.
Yeah. And that again is the somatics thing. If you I have a really good example of this, let's take an do you guys call them antelope? Is that the right name?
Oh yeah, they're like the deer type thingies with the
Yeah,
horny
a deer.
things.
We call it a buck, but
Oh,
a
okay.
deer, a, a springbok, let's say, all right,
Yeah,
is getting chased by a lion. Okay.
yeah,
And that's number one is flight. So it's being chased by the lion. Okay. And because it can't fight, we both know that. So flight
yeah.
it runs away. And what you will often see is just before so the lion will maybe knock it over or something. And unfortunately for that springbok, what will either happen is one, it will keep going with flight and it will get up
Mm,
and start running, or it will freeze.
yeah.
And that's when the lion will kill it.
Mm.
But let's say that it gets knocked over by the lion. I don't know if you guys have this picture in your head, because I mean, I watch a lot of National Geographic, but literally it's been knocked over by the lion, it gets back up and it runs away. And then the lion obviously can't go and get it because it's this, yeah, anyway, it's got away. What will happen with the springbok or pretty much any animal is that its body will like twitch. It'll shake and twitch and twitch and twitch. And what that
Mm.
is that is like shaking off the freeze, bringing itself back in. And that's what a lot of us don't do with our bodies is like actually moving it, which is why somatics is so important because you're kind
Yeah,
of bringing, or dancing, go and dance or put music on and dance. That's the only thing I would say because it's just such an easy thing to do, you know?
yeah. Dance it
Um,
out.
Yeah, ecstatic dance, which is really cool as well, which is sober dancing, because that really, then you're not putting substances in your body and you're able to be consciously moving the emotions through. But essentially, yeah, it's those animals have instinct, and that's why they shake it off. They literally shake it off. Taylor Swift, put it on, shake it off. You're feeling really,
Yes.
you feel super sad about that photo that you just saw. Put Taylor Swift on, shake it off. I'm telling you now, you'll get rid of that emotion before it even decides to manifest in your body.
Yeah.
Um,
And also Let It Go by Frozen. That was one of my favorites. Just
yeah,
let it, it's like the whole like
yeah,
heart opening, like open your
let it
heart,
out.
just let it fucking go. And then you're like,
Yeah.
ah, I feel so much
Yeah,
better now.
screaming, shouting, dancing. Yeah,
Mm.
it's all somatics. It's all moving your body. And if you have a house by yourself, just go do it. Like no one's gonna see you. It's actually really fun. I mean, I do it in public now. I don't really care, but
Do it
you know,
naked for more exposure therapy.
oh my gosh, so fun in front of a mirror. I'm like, are we literally
I used to do that.
oh, fun?
one thing that I did, which reminded me when you shared about you used to take photos of yourself, when I was
Mm,
ready, because like you so wisely said, it will only come up when it's ready to be healed. So I'm not
mm,
talking about the deep work here, but when I was ready, I would video myself doing a
mm.
workout,
Yeah,
nothing other than a
perfect.
sports bra to look after my babies. And then
Yeah,
I would watch back and I'll be like, holy fuck, look at the cellulite, look. And I would notice all the judgments, but I would separate myself from just the judgment mind doing the judgment mind thing. And I would just use it as exposure therapy to be like, "Oh, it's fine. Like it doesn't mean anything about me just because I look like that from behind when I'm jumping up and down doing jump squats with cellulite all over the place. It's only a problem if I'm making it a problem."
yeah. And may I say something as well?
Yeah.
The thing that I find the most interesting when we see photos of ourselves or when we take a video like that, for example, you're not even crediting what you're doing. Like you are doing a workout. How cool is that? Your body is literally doing jump squats and you're looking at your cellulite, or you're
Yeah.
in the water with your like child and then
Mm.
someone takes a photo and you completely forget about that memory or that moment with the child and you think,
Mm.
ah, my stomach looks like this. I
Mm.
think we need to like something that I really, really do is I will focus rather than on my body, I'll focus on what I was doing. So what I
Yeah.
was like, for example, when I um go swimming at the beach or yeah, go swimming at the beach and someone takes a photo of me, I'm like, wow, I am so strong. I go in that water and I swim. That's so cool. And then those thoughts of, oh my gosh, my body don't even really come.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that because we are where our attention is.
Mm, exactly. It's a
Yeah.
frequency. I'm not going to get too much into that because, that's a
Oh,
whole
I'm
different,
totally vibing with that, and most of my audience are,
yeah,
but feel free to share as little or as much. It is because we attract what we are. So if we have
yeah,
a vibration of, let's just use numbers of 8, we're going to attract 8 back to us.
for sure. That's it for sure. And what I'm just on a phone call. Okay. My
Is
goodness.
he trying to sell you a coconut?
Yeah, yeah. He says you're
Oh,
talking on the phone for so
really?
long. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was like, okay, man, like chill. That's
Oh,
so funny. Um, yeah, anyway, I forgot what we were talking about now. I'm so sorry. Apologies about that.
that's all right. I'm just thinking, what the fuck was we just talking about? Lol. I
Oh,
don't even know. Oh,
frequencies.
frequency. Yeah.
Frequencies,
Sorry.
that's it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wonder what frequency I'm on right now. But when you get into like the love frequency, because a lot of time we sit in this like negative, sad frequency, and I think the more you think about the negative, sad things in your body or whatever, um, the worse it becomes.
Yeah.
And if you start to think of all the good things, because this is the thing, we literally go into this negative spin, and then everything is more negative, right? Oh, I woke up, I hit my toe on the bed, and then you're like, and then I dropped my coffee, and then this happened. Yeah, because you're in a negative frequency.
You're
So
attracting it to yourself.
yeah, if you wake up in the morning and say, "Oh, I look awful today," then you're just going to find all these negative things about yourself. But if you wake up and even if you're not really feeling it, oh my gosh, my body is amazing because it's literally woken up. How great is that? I have another day on this planet. Then you're kind of getting yourself into a positive frequency. I'd say morning is like the most important time to get into that frequency as well.
Yeah. That is
So
such great advice. Such great advice because going back to what we said earlier, we attract we what we look for, we will find, and we
yeah,
attract what we believe about ourselves. So we have to purposefully focus on positives and uplifting things in order to receive and experience that in our
yeah,
lives.
for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So wrapping up, Cait, I have
Yeah.
2 questions for you. The first one is anything you want to say that I've not asked you. And the second one is what do you do and how can you help people and how can they come into your world and all that stuff?
Oh wow. Okay. Is there anything that you haven't asked me? No, I think it's been a really lovely chat, and um, I'm just very excited to be on this journey now where I'm stepping back into the gym with the help of coach, and allowing like the expertise of somebody else to help me. I think that's such an important thing, is to allow help. Even if you're like me and you've done all this work on yourself, I still need help. I still need accountability. I still need someone to say, this is, you're doing so well in this or whatever. Doesn't matter how far along the journey you're in or not in. I think it's so important. Help is always, always gratefully received.
Yes.
Um, so that's the first thing. Um, Second thing, quickly, I just wanted to say how grateful I am for you. It's been so lovely to chat to you, and it's so wonderful to see what you're doing, and how many people you're helping. And yeah, just thank you so much for everything that you do, because healing is so powerful. You heal yourself and you heal everyone around you.
Thank you.
So thank you. Yeah.
We see that.
Um, yeah, no, I'm grateful for you.
Thank
And then the next thing really, so what was it? What do I do? Or where can people find
Yeah,
me? So
so
I'm on Instagram.
because you're doing, I assume, I don't want to say obviously, I assume you coach women around body image and self-love, do you?
So I actually am about to run a workshop next week, which is the three pillars of self-love, because essentially I found out that self-love has these three pillars, which are body, life, and legacy. And the thing that was missing for me, I mean, body, I'm like in love with my body. She's so wonderful. She's amazing. My life, once I realized I didn't want to work in the system and I couldn't, because of this beautiful female body living in a masculine world, is just not for me. Sort out, and I talked to you earlier about, I go through everything first. I test everything for everybody else first. I went on this
Yes.
huge journey to discover how to live a free life. And that was kind of like hopping around different jobs and, all that kind of stuff. And then I found an opportunity. And I think in this world, there are so many different vehicles in which to um, choose. You can choose a scooter, you can choose a Tesla, you can choose a Land Rover to get you from A to B.
Yeah.
I have chosen a vehicle which is very tangible and really has allowed my abundance to come in and my legacy to start building, because bank account is a huge part of self-love. And
Mm.
I think it's something that a lot of us don't allow into our lives. They think, oh, money, we shouldn't talk about money, and we shouldn't. Money's a frequency, money's an energy. And essentially, this is what I'm teaching now, is how to love your body, how to love your life, and how to build a legacy. I have a vehicle which I use, and that is what I will share with people. And essentially, it's not, some people want it, some people don't want it. So fine. It's just a vehicle, but it's what I do. And I live through experience, and it's my experience, and that's all I can talk about. Because I did my whole, like, life coaching and breathwork facilitator, but I didn't feel like I had something tangible for people at the end.
Mm.
Like, sure, I can teach you how to love your body, and I can teach you how to move country, and I can teach you all these things, but is there something tangible there? And I found that tangible thing, and now that's what I'm sharing. So,
That's so
um,
exciting.
yeah, I'm not sure when this is going to be live, but I have got a workshop that will be going live next week, and then I'll have a replay available for it as well.
Well, I'll get it out as soon as possible. Maybe I
Hmm.
can get it out for next week. So hopefully when people are listening to this, they can quickly head over to your page, which obviously I'll link everything below, and sign up. Can they do it through
Yeah,
your Instagram bio? Is that where to go?
yeah, it's through my Instagram bio, or just send me a DM and I will get back to you. And I'll send the replay, or if it's in time, then they can watch it as well. But yeah, essentially, I just think self-love is the most amazing, amazing. Um, and I say self-love, and a lot of people say, oh, you need to accept first. And I'm like, I get that, but let's just call it love, because that's what we are. We're
Yeah.
love. Let's
Yeah.
just call it love. Acceptance is love. That's what it is. So if you're accepting yourself, or you're not starting acceptance journey, you're loving yourself.
It's love, because love, in
Yeah.
my opinion, love is without judgment,
Hmm. Hmm. Which is acceptance.
which is acceptance.
Yeah.
Exactly that. And so, last question, because I'm curious, do you then work with people one to one?
Yeah, there'll be a mentorship that I'll be doing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thought
Yeah.
so.
So it'll be like a container, um, because I think it's really nice for peers to have, or people, sorry, peers, what was that word? To have each other.
Yes.
because they're all going through the same thing. And then also I will be mentoring. Yeah, I think I'm going to open up to 10 people. So, and that will be through September time.
Yeah, cool. I'll link
Yeah,
everything below to get it out ASAP. So when I say
amazing.
goodbye, I know this is on air. People know I don't edit things. Don't disappear because I think you have to wait 30 seconds for something to download or something. So I'll stop recording in a minute. But thank you, Cait, for your energy
Yeah.
and your love and your wisdom. It's been an absolute pleasurable conversation to have with you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So grateful for you and that you do this lovely podcast and yeah, everything that you do for everybody and yourself.
Thank you, Cait. Mwah. Much love to you and our
Lots
listeners.
of
I'll
love.
see you next. Bye bye.
Yeah, love you guys.